Hello, everybody. Good morning, and welcome back to the J Lounge. Of course, everyone knows I am your hostess with the mostest, Miss J, aka Miss Simone Jackson, here to bring you guys another great episode of the J Lounge. Of course, everyone knows the J Lounge is a celebrity-based podcast show where we talk with entertainers, directors, singers, you name it. They all come down here and they all have a great time. And as per normal, I'm always excited to be introducing my next guest to you guys. She is an actor, producer, director, writer, and she's here to talk about her amazing work. Everyone, please give a super warm welcome to Caitlin Gold. Hi, Caitlin.
Hi, Simone. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I'm so excited for my audience to get to know you and your work. And yeah, I'm appreciative of you just giving me your time today.
Of course. Happy to.
Absolutely. So I'm going to go ahead and fire the first question at you, Caitlin. What began your
Sure.
passion for films?
Um, well, it's funny. In your introduction, you described me as an actor, which I am not anymore. But
Oh,
I was once upon a time, and that was sort of how I entered the biz, if you will. I mean, I always loved film and television and theater for as long as I can remember. Since I was a little girl, I really just grew up revering performing. And I grew up wanting to be an actor more than anything. I thought that was the way that um you are a storyteller. You're the one saying the words. And so I just assumed that acting was the thing that I wanted to do.
mm,
And it was only as I got older and I started working as an actor professionally that I, was able to really reflect on what exactly it truly was that I loved about storytelling so much. And it wasn't necessarily, being the one to say the words. It was being the one who figured out how we all even got there in the first place. How did all of
yeah.
these people end up on this one film set together, and how did this vision really come together? And so once I started working as an actor, and I found myself really gravitating much more towards what was happening behind the scenes, I began working as a PA and production coordinator, and sort of worked my way up the production ladder here in New York, and then eventually just made the leap to producing when I felt like uh, acting wasn't fulfilling me the way that I really wanted it to.
Right.
And eventually I found producing, and that has been my path ever since. It's been about a decade now, and I really haven't stopped since.
I love it. I love it. And I have to say, and I think that's the start for a lot of producers and directors, starting off as actors and seeing, getting their, feet wet per se, seeing how the biz is. And then once you grow older, you find, I find it better to be working behind the scenes, creating the
Yeah.
story rather than be the one, acting the story out.
Right.
Um, because these conversations, these moments are all coming from the producers and the directors, and they're creating these so for the actors to act out. So um yeah, I actually love that. I really do. um Going on to the number two question, Caitlin, what type of stories are you interested in bringing to the forefront for your producing?
Certainly stories told by and about and for women has pretty much been the through line of my career since the very beginning, excuse me, before I was even, consciously aware of the fact that I was only almost exclusively working with women. It wasn't an intentional thing that I set out to do. The stories that I just responded to, and really the filmmakers that I gravitated towards, and that I I bonded with, and that I identified with, and that I worked well with, all just happened to be female identifying creators. And so I think that has just been, at a certain point, it did become a conscious decision. We created the 51 Fund, which is one of the companies that I co-founded and currently spend my time on, vast majority of my time on, that is a company that is funding narrative and documentary feature films specifically directed by women. And so, you know, at some point I did pivot and say, okay, this is going to be the focus of my career. You know, and that's not to say that I don't love men too, and hope to, and I'm totally open to working with them and partnering with them. But I think that, yeah, it's just, I really go off what speaks to me. When I'm talking about things that I jump on board to produce, I really just focus on projects that that speak to me and that I want to spend my time with. And that has largely been stories by and about and for female audiences and creators. And I love it. And I'm really grateful to have so many amazing women in my life who are just awesome producers, filmmakers, storytellers, creators. It's really special.
I love that. I really do. And, you know, I can completely understand, you know, the need to wanting to tell, you know, stories about women, because there's still so many stories untold. There's still so much history that's been untold about women. And, you know, it's, you know, like I said, we love you guys too. We love you dudes too. But, you know, there's still so many things that that for women that are still untold and that need to be told. And yeah, I'm liking that your work is, you know, centered around women. I really do. I really do. But going on to the next question, Caitlin, name 3 people who influenced your career.
3 people who influenced my career. I would say first person. Does this have to be like, it can just be anybody in my life? It doesn't necessarily have to be, you know, film centric.
Exactly. Anybody that's influenced your career, anybody.
Yeah, then definitely I would say my mother, because she was, funny enough, the very, very, very first person who actually said the words to me, "You should be a producer," before anyone else, before I even really knew what exactly that was. And she just knew my personality and knew, you know, I was a very type A child and teenager, super list oriented. I loved managing things. And it's funny, I remember when I was sort of it was in the period of my sort of life and career where I was still acting, but I was starting to produce my work, but it was for the purpose of advancing my acting career, as a lot of us do. And so at the time I was working with a friend and a colleague of mine, and we were sort of gaming, if you will, the SAG new media agreement, if you remember that from, gosh, like a decade ago, when if you produced a web series and you cast yourself in it and a bunch of your friends, you could essentially gain entry into the Screen Actors Union. Gosh, I don't know if I should be saying this publicly on a podcast, but this is very common public knowledge at this point. Like, no, but you know, many people did this, and I think they've
it is common public knowledge.
Yeah.
So,
and I think they've done away with the new media agreement since then. I actually have no idea where that even stands today. But anyways, and I was describing to my mother, you know, I was still acting at that point, but I was describing to my mom all the things that we had to do to pull this web series together in order to, you know, cast ourselves in it and in order to perform in it. And we had to, you know, do all the things that a producer does. You hire the crew, you find the locations, insurance, equipment, crafty, every single thing. And she just said the words to me, "Yeah, you should be a producer." And I was like, "What?" And I didn't even register it at the time. I truly didn't. It went in one ear and out the other ear. But all these years later, like, that is exactly what I'm doing. And she was the first person to recognize that in me, only because she knew me so well and knew what kind of work fulfills me. And she knew that I probably was getting a lot of satisfaction out of doing all of those behind the scenes things. And I still do. So definitely my mom. Um, you said three people, right?
Mm-hmm. Two
Okay. Oh
more.
gosh.
Two more.
Two more. I would say there's a dear friend and colleague of mine, and she was actually the person I started that web series with, and her name is Naomi McDougall Jones. And she is a big part of the reason I'm producing today. We did that web series together that I just described, but we also
Mm-hmm.
decided to I produced the very first feature that I produced with her, and it was a film that she wrote and that she starred in, and that I was actually meant to star in alongside her, again for the same purpose of creating our own work as actors. And it was during the process of putting that film together that I truly had a sort of come to Jesus moment, realized that I didn't want to be an actor. And funny enough, I called her from the film set of another project that I was production coordinating at the time. And I said to her, listen, I know we've been working on this thing for 2 years and we were supposed to star in it together and blah, 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 but I don't want to be an actor anymore. I just want to produce this for you and with you. And she was the most understanding friend and said, absolutely, let's find someone else to act in. You be the producer you want to be. And we've been working together ever since. She's one of my co-founders at the 51 Fund, and she's such an integral part of my work life, and someone that I talk to pretty much every single day about films and filmmakers and women and the business and how can we do more and do better and help more people and support more storytellers. And she's just a very pivotal person in my life in that way. And so definitely Naomi. And then third person would be this is a very, cheesy answer, but I'm going to say it. I would say Nancy Meyers, because even though I guess, I don't know if Nancy produces as much as, is a writer and director, but I grew up on her films. Baby Boom and Father of the Bride were the films that I watched over and over and over as a kid. And those are the films that sort of turned me on to the joy that film can bring into one's life. And they make you laugh and they make you cry and they inspire you and they move you. And they were such early influences for me. And I still love every single one of her movies to this day. And so, yeah, I would say she definitely, was very formative for me in my early years. And I love her work. I'm a huge Nancy Meyers fan. So Nancy, if you're
Yes,
listening,
yeah.
let me produce one of your movies, please.
She's definitely, I like to call her one of the, queens of romantic comedies for directing, for sure.
Yeah.
She did The Holiday.
Oh my
She's
gosh, so good.
complicated. Yes,
Like the best. Like truly,
I love
who does
it.
not like her movies? I mean, I
Exactly.
don't, you must not just have a
Like
soul.
movies.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I don't understand. Anyways, I think she's fabulous.
Yeah, she is. She definitely is. Like I said, she's done so many great. She's definitely one of the few that's kept the romantic comedy genre alive, and thank goodness for that. Really,
Yeah.
thank
And
goodness for that.
it's funny because like that is I obviously I love the genre so much. I think we need a renaissance of it nowadays. Like
Hmm.
I'm looking for an awesome rom-com. I'm
I
looking
don't
for
know
that.
where they lost their magic or their touch. I really don't know. They used to come out with really great rom-coms every, 6 months to a year, and
Yeah.
now it's very rare that we get something that's romantic, that's also funny, that's also got, some spiciness to it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just, yeah, it's so sad. It is.
I agree. I agree. Well, send your great rom-com scripts my way, everyone, please.
Yes, please. Let's start making some things happen here. All right. Going on to the next question. You worked on a film called Cusp, which got rave reviews. Can you tell the J-Line's audience about the film and what was it like working on the film?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So Cusp is a documentary by two amazing, brilliant filmmakers that I adore named Parker Hill and Isabel Bethencourt. And uh, the film follows these three teenage girls. They're living in this military town in Texas, and the film follows them as they navigate their friendships, their familial relationships, and most definitely the toxic masculinity that very much exists around these girls in their community. And it follows them as they make this transition, from girlhood into, I guess, adulthood. And it's a really beautiful, important piece of verite filmmaking. It says a lot about American culture and being a young girl in this country at this time, which is a very, tough space to navigate. And yeah, the film premiered at Sundance in 2021. It's available on Showtime. It's a hard watch, I think, in some ways. It's an important watch for everyone. It's a film that I have a 5-year-old daughter, and one day I many years from now, not too many years, but certainly not maybe a decade from now, it's a film that I very much look forward to sitting down with her and watching and sort of taking in through her eyes, and hopefully having a really open and honest and transparent conversation with her. And I hope that, for me, that's something that I think, and I hope young girls are doing after they watch the film, and having those conversations, whether it's with their friends or their moms or their sisters or their whomever. I'm so proud of that film, and it was such an honor to be a small part of it. And it was actually the very first film that 51 Fund invested in, and it was such an important film for us to be a part of.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm glad that I definitely got the rave reviews. I highly encourage my audience, everyone, to check it out. You said it was on Showtime?
Yes, it's on Showtime.
Yes, I highly encourage everyone to watch it on Showtime. And then, when you say that, one day, maybe a decade from now, when you watch this with your daughter, when she becomes a teenager, this is going to be a whole different time. So it's going to be interesting to show her, this is what teenagehood in 2021 was like. Because when she's a teenager, it's going to be a whole different landscape. So that'll be really interesting to see how teenagehood is for like 2021 to how it will be when your daughter reaches that age.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, interesting and terrifying, I'm sure.
Of course. Of course. Yes, of course. Terrifying as well. But definitely it'll be an interesting contrast to see, this is what it's like for, teens in 2021 to now. So that will definitely be an interesting conversation to have too. But going on to the next question, where, Caitlin, can my audience follow you and your work? Where are you on social media?
Well, so like I mentioned, I have two companies that I am a part of, the 51 Fund, which is a financing company, and you're welcome to follow us on our social media there. We're not the best at staying up to date on it, but please still follow. We do post. And I believe that is just, our Instagram is just at the 51 Fund, I believe, at the 51, like the numbers 51 Fund. And then in terms of my producing endeavors and my production company, that's called Tanbark Pictures, TANBARK Pictures. And I believe our Instagram handle is just at Tanbark Pictures there too. So those are the best places to follow. I think both companies have newsletter sign-ups on our websites, and you can certainly sign up and follow there as well.
Yes, I highly encourage my audience. Make sure you follow Caitlin Gold, and just support her work, because we definitely want to see more of it. That's definitely for sure. We definitely want to see more of it.
Thank you. That's very kind.
Yes. Going on to the next question, Caitlin. What future projects are you involved with that you can give just a little dish about to the J Lounge audience?
Oh, dish. We have one that an amazing film that I'm super excited about called Reality, which is directed by Tina Satter, and it's a film about Reality Winner. It's basically a transcript of the FBI interrogation she endured when she was arrested in 2016 for leaking classified information about the 2016 election and the Russian interference in that election. Really amazing film Tina's made, and we screened at Berlin. We were picked up by HBO for distribution. Ooh. And HBO is going to be releasing the film in May. I believe it's around end of May. I don't think we've announced the actual date yet, but around end of May we'll be premiering on HBO. And so would love for people to watch that. The film stars Sydney Sweeney as well. And ooh. Sydney's fabulous in it, and got, incredible reviews out of the festival. So we're really proud of that. And besides that, have a lot of things in development. I'm not sure how much I can talk about just yet, but stay tuned. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. How exciting. How exciting. Cannot wait to check that out on HBO. That's going to be so cool. That's definitely going to be very, very cool. And to work with Sydney Sweeney, how awesome is that? That's just the cherry top on the whole Sunday, honestly. Going on to the next question. What goals do you hope to accomplish in your career that you haven't yet, Caitlin?
Oh my God. Many. There's so many. I mean, it's so funny. Of course, I was like, I want to win an Oscar one day, and then for a long time I was like, screw that. Why do I need an Oscar? Why do these dumb awards mean anything or matter or anything like that? And now I'm like totally back on the Oscar bandwagon. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I would love to win an Oscar one day.
Of course.
No, but in all seriousness, I mean, I think for me, the most important thing that I want to be doing is just really continuing to work with filmmakers whose work I've admired for years. So just people that I am a straight up fan of. There's so many incredible filmmakers, women who I'm thinking of who I just admire so much, who I would, give my right arm to work with. Because I'm just a fan. I'm just ultimately like such a fan at the end of the day. And so that to me is the, I guess my big overarching goal. It's just work with people whose storytelling I've loved watching from afar and getting to sort of soak them in up close, next time around. That's what I aspire to.
Oh, that is awesome. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with honestly saying, I want to win the Oscar. I mean, who doesn't? That's the epitome of the film world. It really is. Yeah. So I definitely see that in your future. We've had a couple of people on here that spoke, Oscars and, into existence for themselves and went on and win the Oscars themselves. So
awesome.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, exactly. Speak it here, because it just seems to always happen. That. It really does. All right. Just got a couple more questions for you, Caitlin. Going on to the next question. Any plans to direct one day?
The short answer is no.
I love it. The short
answer is no. I mean, I don't know that I have the creative vision that one needs in order to do that. I'm good at executing on other people's visions, but to be the one to craft that vision from nothing, right. I don't know if I have that skill in me right now at this point in my career. And I don't have that desire to sort of go after that. I think that maybe there's a world in which that changes or that desire grows as I hopefully, God willing, produce more and more work. And again, work with, more and more filmmakers who inspire me. But as of today, no, I don't have that yearning.
Hey, that's a beautiful answer. That really is, and that's truthful answer. Not directing's not for everybody, and it's
Yeah.
right. It's really hard to be able to create something kind of from scratch and then getting, oh my goodness, even thinking about it makes my brain hurts. Oh my gosh, I can see like, oh my goodness. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know how people can sometimes direct. There is so much skill and precision
Yeah.
and vision that goes into that. It's a lot of brain power. That's just a lot of brain power.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it
It's
just
not
hurts.
easy. It's not easy to do well, that is for sure.
No. So I like that answer. I really do. Directing is honestly not for everybody.
Yeah.
All right. Going on to the last question there, Caitlin. What advice would you give aspiring producers who are hoping to be as successful as you are?
You're funny. Um, uh, I would just say, I mean, I guess I've been asked this question a lot, and I always sort of give the same boring answer, but it's truthful. It's just get out there and make stuff. Just
Mhm.
practice your craft, make mistakes, make relationships, forge friendships. Like just get out there and do it and start building a network, start building your experience, start build like, just get out there and make stuff. And then, with each project that you work on, try to make it better than the last and aim high and um yeah, just get out there and do it. Producing
Honestly,
is not something I think you really learn sitting in a classroom or you know, a,
yes.
yeah, I think you have to it's an experience thing, and you don't have the experience until you get out there and just start doing it.
You're
Um,
completely right. Completely
yeah,
right. Absolutely. And I couldn't and I can't help but agree with it. You gotta go out and do it. It's
yeah,
not everything can be taught in a classroom. Sometimes you got to take a deep breath, take the courage and just go out and do it.
yeah,
You never know unless you actually try it for yourself.
yeah,
Uh, so yeah, I agree with that. And producing is something that you have to definitely just go out and try and
yeah,
just see what comes up of it. So,
100%.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Oh, Caitlin, you have been such a pleasure to be able to speak with today. I'm so glad you came to my show. I'm so glad my audience got to know you and your work. I really appreciate, being able to speak with you today.
Thank you. This was so fun. I really appreciate you taking the time.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's always an honor here at the J Lounge. And like I said, I do hope that my audience make sure you guys follow Caitlin Gold on social media platforms. Check out her work. Test. It's on Showtime. Got a new project coming out on HBO here in May. Hopefully at the end of May here soon. So make sure you guys check that out. And just make sure you check more of Caitlin Gold because we definitely want to see more of her work. It's definitely, powerful, potent, and just definitely we just need to see more of her projects. So yeah, I
Thank
definitely
you.
yes, of course, of course. Of course, I want to thank everyone for listening in. Of course, you guys know I've been your hostess with the mostest, Miss J, aka Miss Simone Jackson, bringing you guys another great episode of the J Lounge. I want to thank my amazing guest one more time, Miss Caitlin Gold. And until then, everybody, I'll be back with another great episode. You guys stay beautiful, have a wonderful day, and I'll be back soon. Bye.